Welcome to Knowledge 3, Lesson 6. This story is called ISSUN BOSHI, the 1-inch boy. Long ago, in a village in Japan, there lived an old man and his wife who more than anything wanted a child. They hoped and they wished. They went to the temple and prayed to the gods. "May we be blessed with a child," they said, "even if he is no larger than our thumbs." And then their prayers were answered. In 9 months' time, a fine baby boy was born to the old couple. The child was lovely and very small. They called him ISSUN BOSHI, which means 1-inch boy, for he was no taller than his father's thumb. ISSUN BOSHI grew up strong, smart, and helpful, though he grew no bigger. When 12 years had passed, ISSUN BOSHI came to his parents and said, "Father and Mother, please give me your permission to go to the capital city, for I wish to see the world, learn many things, and make a name for myself." His parents were very worried, scared to think of all the bad things that could happen to ISSUN BOSHI in such a large city, but they knew their boy was smart and strong, so they agreed to let him go. They made for him a tiny sword out of a sewing needle. They also gave him a rice bowl for a boat and some chopsticks for oars. In the rice bowl, he floated down the river, using the chopsticks as paddles when the water became rough, and using his sword to catch fish. In a few days, he arrived at the city of Kyoto. "My, what a busy city this is," he thought. "So many people crammed in to one space." He walked carefully through the streets, dodging feet and cartwheels. He kept walking until he came to a beautiful house, the largest in the city. At the foot of the steps sat a pair of shiny black geta, or wooden shoes. They belonged to the owner of the house, who was the wealthiest lord in the city. The door of the great house opened. Out walked a man who put on the shiny black shoes. ISSUN BOSHI called out, "Hello, hello there!" The man looked around and, seeing nobody, began to go back in. But ISSUN BOSHI called out, I'm down here, near your shoes. Please be careful not to step on me." The man, who was the lord of the house, leaned down and was astonished when he saw ISSUN BOSHI. ISSUN BOSHI bowed and politely introduced himself. "My name," he said, "is ISSUN BOSHI. I have just arrived in the city and I would like to work for you." The lord picked up ISSUN BOSHI in the palm of his hand. In a friendly voice, he said, "But what can a little fellow like you do?" A fly was buzzing around and bothering the lord, so ISSUN BOSHI drew out his sewing needle sword. With a quick swit-swat, away went the fly. "You're quite an amazing little fellow," laughed the lord. "Come, you may work for me and live in my house." And so, tiny ISSUN BOSHI went to live in the big, beautiful house, serving the noble lord. He made friends with everyone there, especially the princess, the lord's lovely daughter. It seemed that he was always at her side, helping her in whatever way he could, whether by holding down the paper when she wrote a letter, or simply by riding on her shoulder and keeping her company while she walked through the beautiful gardens around the house. In time, the princess came to feel a strong affection for her little helper. In the spring, ISSUN BOSHI traveled with the princess and her companions to the cherry blossom festival. On their way home, they began to hear strange noises behind them on the narrow road. They could see nothing in the shadows when suddenly a huge monster leaped into their path. Everyone screamed and ran. Everyone except ISSUN BOSHI and the princess. Who are you and what do you want? Cried ISSUN BOSHI. I am an Oni, growled the monster. An Oni? The Oni were terrible creatures who bothered the townspeople. But ISSUN BOSHI stepped forward and shouted, Get out of the way, you demon! I'm here to guard the princess. Step back! We'll see about that, growled the Oni. Then he snatched up ISSUN BOSHI, popped him into his mouth, and swallowed him whole. Down, down ISSUN BOSHI slid until he landed plop in the Oni's stomach. This Oni should be more careful about what he eats, said ISSUN BOSHI. He pulled out his sewing needle sword and began to tickle the Oni's stomach. Ow! Ooh! Shouted the Oni. Then he gave a loud burp, and out popped ISSUN BOSHI. The Oni ran away, burping the whole way. ISSUN BOSHI ran over to the princess. She was bending down and picking something up from the ground. With great excitement, she said, Look, ISSUN BOSHI, the Oni was so scared he dropped this magic hammer. If you make a wish on it, it will come true. ISSUN BOSHI bowed to the princess and said, My lady, I would ask that you make a wish. No, ISSUN BOSHI, said the princess. You won this because of your bravery. You should be the first one to wish on it. So ISSUN BOSHI took the hammer and said, I already have my greatest wish, which is to serve you. But if I could have another wish, I would wish to be taller. Then he gave the hammer to the princess, who made a silent wish on it herself. Then and there, ISSUN BOSHI began to grow taller. That night, when the princess told her father how brave ISSUN BOSHI had been and how he had risked his life to save her, the Lord was so happy that he gave ISSUN BOSHI permission to marry the princess. And so, you see, the princess's wish came true too. ISSUN BOSHI's brave deeds were celebrated throughout the land. He and the princess lived happily together, along with ISSUN BOSHI's proud and happy parents, whom ISSUN BOSHI had brought to the Lord's house to be part of his new family.